Hi, I'm Shelley Wood. You might know me from shelleywood.com. This is my tiny sewing room where I make doll clothes sewing videos. Today, I'm going to show you how to use ribbon when you're sewing your doll clothes. There are lots of ways to use ribbon, both as a functional part of a doll's garment and for decorating dioramas and props in the garments themselves. There are lots of ribbon sizes and styles, and some even have printed designs. Ribbons also come in every color imaginable. I try to keep a stash of a variety of colors to use with my various doll clothes projects. You'll find they're relatively inexpensive even when they're not on sale. So watch for them at fabric and craft stores. Now, here in the United States, ribbon tends to come on a cardboard spool. And you want to pay attention not just to the way it looks, but also to what it says on the outside of the spool. For example, this one tells you that it's 1/8 inch wide by 10 yards of length. You can find that it's also in metric. And I love this holiday ribbon. You can find some like that for various projects that are designed in unique ways. Now, one of the things that I suggest is to compare the ribbon to both the fabric and the size of the doll you're working with before you decide which fabric or which ribbon you want to use with your fabric. For my Skipper Elf dress, which was very popular at Christmas time, I tacked a decorative ribbon on the bodice with a single stitch to hold it in place. So you don't actually have to sew all along the ribbon, you can just tack it on. No matter what size your doll is, it really is useful to use ribbons for those dress straps. Now, I'm going to show you what I call my beginner's method, which is great when you're teaching children or absolute beginners. You just kind of eyeball where the ribbons go. You sew a strap to the bodice front, and then you wind it around and attach it at the back. And especially when working with children, this gets the job done pretty quickly. Now, for a more intermediate sewist, I recommend that you put the garment on your doll inside out and then pin the straps in place to make sure that they fit the way you want them to. Then you can attach them using maybe a whip stitch. Of course, a dab of fray check can prevent the ribbon from fraying at the bottom. Remember, all of these costumes and outfits are available on my website as free patterns to download. Now, you'll notice on this one I didn't use the intermediate method, I just eyeballed it and the straps didn't fit the doll quite right. If you're sewing for very tiny dolls like Polly Pocket, I recommend the 1/8 inch tiny ribbons. You might remember my candy corn dress used ribbons for decoration. Now, I doubled the ribbon to make the collar just like you would with bias tape, and I added that ribbon above the edge of the hem, and then I put rickrack trim over the top of the ribbon. So here you can see the hemline, and just above that I have a tiny little ribbon. It's probably a little less than 1/2 inch, followed by, over the top, a 1/8 inch rickrack. I tied an opaque polka dot bow around this dress, which really added a splash of color to what was just a plain red dress. This polka dot ribbon was my own creation. In other words, I tied it, but you can purchase pre-made, pre-tied ribbons that have already been tied in a bow for you, and then you just tack them on with a single stitch. In my Romeo and Juliet video, Juliet's wedding gown is decorated with ribbon flowers. Look how cute that is. I just basted them to the dress 1 inch apart in a sort of a grid line. They really made her dress lovely and romantic and added dimension to the fabric, especially for my wedding scene. Ribbon flowers also make good props for dioramas. You can pin them to some foliage. I also use ribbon flowers in my bridal bouquets. And again, these patterns are all free to download on shellywood.com. That one's for a tall Barbie. Take a look at this swimsuit pattern that I designed. Also the typical ball gown like this one. All you have to do is fold a ribbon in half and attach it to the center of the bodice front and wrap it around your doll's neck, tie it at the back, and now you have a way to secure the doll clothes to the doll. It's very simple using ribbon. In my Romeo and Juliet video, the doll we chose to be Juliet's nurse wore this wig, and it didn't want to stay in place. So that bonnet that we tied with a ribbon really helped us secure that wig on her. One of the easiest ways to make a doll's purse is to add a little ribbon to a swatch of fabric, just like you see here. And again, I have this pattern and tutorial on my website, shellywood.com. So simple to make. If you're a more advanced sewist, you might want to do something like you see the lady merchant wearing in Romeo and Juliet, this lovely lace-up bodice gown. It does take a little bit of advanced skill. To create this look, I used bead jump rings to make grommets, and then by sewing the grommets in between 2 pieces of fabric, I then laced it by sending the lace through those grommets. It's a little tricky, but not impossible to do. Romeo's jacket had a sort of quilted look to it, and that was just whip stitch over several ribbons that I added to the front, and it really gave an appearance of quilting. It looks very nice on him. Well, that's all I have for today. Thanks for watching. If you enjoy my videos and all my free sewing patterns, please tell your friends about my website. I really appreciate that. You can find free patterns on shellywood.com for clothes like this dress and many more. Goodbye.